Joining me now, Johanna Neuman, former president, White House Correspondents Association. Joanna, just so you know, full disclaimer, I am one of the biggest thorns in the side of the White House Correspondents Association. I think it is an illegal cabal that has controlled the tents on Pebble Beach. They have zero authority to do this. They basically usurped it since Woodrow Wilson. They control the 49 seats in the
In
press
the
briefing
room.
room.
Yeah.
If you can control the seats, you control the power. Previously, they controlled access to the press pool at the Oval Office and to Air Force One, traveling with the president. The comms department under Caroline Levitt has changed that. So new media like me gets in the pool rotation. They no longer control that. The White House press does. So that's a step in the right direction. But the whole seating thing, that's how they get their power. They don't have any authority. They just took it. And now, if you were White House correspondence president,
Oh,
like you were,
I,
I would probably take a different position.
John, I was president of the White House Correspondents Association when I democratized it. For many decades, it was a fiefdom where you were invited to serve by the current board. And I said, this is wrong. We have to have elections. So I would not be elected now. I am a conservative, a proud MAGA person. I have changed. I had a 35-year career in journalism in Washington, White House, State Department, Congress. And then I saw what was happening to journalism and I left. I went back to school. I got a PhD in history. And I think it was when I looked back on history that I realized how the media was distorting, and they're still doing it.
Be more specific.
In 1860, the southern states started to rebel against Lincoln. They wanted to keep slaves, and Lincoln said, "We're not doing that." And they openly defied federal law by seceding from the Union. That is what the blue states are doing today. They are openly defying federal immigration law with sanctuary cities, with protests against ICE, with impeding law enforcement. And it worries me that, are we on the brink of another civil war?
Why don't they secede?
Wouldn't that be, well, it would be wonderful, I suppose, but confusing. Like, what would you do with Oregon, which has one part that's very left and one part that's more like Idaho? So,
Right. Well, Minnesota should be the first one. They can just secede
yeah,
and be part of Canada. Get
or
rid of
part of
them,
Somalia.
and then California, Somalia, and then California could secede and be their own country. We'll close that border, and that'll eventually collapse into the sea, I guess.
Or we could let the economic system work in that same way. And already so many people are leaving California and leaving New York. And I assume they're leaving Minnesota as well, um, because they're voting with their feet, with their
Mhm.
real estate.
So, Johanna, as you know, I've been a critic of WHCA. I'm a member, but not a voting member because they can't let somebody like me vote because I vote all of them out. So they have this thing where they can't deny your membership based on the audience I have, and I'm a White House correspondent. I have a hard pass, but they have this thing where they make you a non-voting member. And that thing is so totally corrupt. But since Sean Spicer was there and Trump won, and now with Caroline and Trump too, I've urged them to simply take over the seating because that is their last vestige of power. You take that away and you reassign the seats, and they have nothing. And I don't know why they are hesitant to do that. Do you have any idea?
I don't know, but I wonder if they um, don't want to make martyrs out of them. If you take Caitlin of CNN out of the front row, it's going to make her famous. And I think Caroline does a fabulous job of rebutting them and shaming them and making the points that she came out to make. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure it's necessary. But
Well, when you've been there 8 years and you're standing up for 2 hours and a half and you're 68 like
oh,
me,
well, that's a good
it
point.
becomes necessary.
That's
It
a very
becomes
good point.
necessary. But look, I've no problem. Look, the first three rows there, as you know, are like the bar scene at Star Wars, basically. So I've no problem with that. But there's another 8, 10 rows back with like ridiculous outlets in there, like the Blade in Washington D.C., like readership 190. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, hopefully,
Well, keep pounding and let's see what happens.
well, nothing happens. That's basically what happened. I've been fighting for you. And then here's the other thing they did. So then when Psaki took over, I just got an email that said your hard pass has been revoked. It's not going to be renewed. I'm like, why? Well, because we don't like you. I mean, that's not what they said, but it's like, oh, there's too many people. Oh, basically because like I ask a legitimate question instead of, oh, how's Joe Biden today? Did he have his strawberry ice cream or chocolate? Which is his favorite on Tuesday? It's basically what they got there. Tell me your thoughts on Iran.
Um, I'm I'm all in favor of it. I think Trump is amazing. What he's done is liberate a people who were under tyranny. And I thought it was remarkable that the people of Brazil and Cuba are out in the streets in their countries asking for Trump to liberate them as well. There is an innate appeal of freedom. And I just think, and he's going to take a lot of criticism. Um, I think they're very clear eyed about the mission. I watched the Hegseth. I don't know if you had time to watch the briefing
I did. It
yesterday from
was
the
good.
Pentagon, but they're very clear. The objective is not just to end the regime, it's to disarm it
Mhm.
and to take out the Navy, to take out the missiles that are now being launched into all the Gulf states. Um, and somebody said that Trump would lose patience. He would get bored and they would leave early. And he said in response to that, I'm not going to leave early. I'm going to leave when the mission is done.
Mhm.
So I think they are, in some ways, students of history too. They understand they do not want a forever war. They do want regime change, but not on our terms, on the terms of the people of Iran. So I'm, as someone who remembers 1979 and uh, the shame that they put our diplomats through, the degradation of it. Um, I remembers Obama's giveaway to Iran.
Mhm.
Um, this is very, very empowering.
Johanna, tell us about your new book.
I have a new book. This is a much lighter note, John. My new book is called Trump's Superpower. It's a novel in which I bring the founding fathers and one founding mother down from heaven, and they have wonderful encounters with 21st century Americans. Ben Franklin is arrested for misgendering a big, bulky guy named Christina, and George Washington has his teeth fixed. But there's also a very serious conversation among them throughout the book about whether this is the country they meant to leave us.
Mhm.
And the reason I called it Trump's superpower is that I believe President Trump understands that if he wants to make America great again,
Mhm.
he has to rescue the founders and the founding from the liberal critics who have been assaulting it for over a century. I mean, this started a long time ago where historians started writing about how the founders really didn't do it for democracy, they did it for uh, economic greed. And then, of course, came the whole period we're in now of they only did it because they were racist um, and wanted to keep their slaves. No, these people risked their lives, they risked their fortunes, they risked their reputations, they risked their families for the cause of liberating this country. And I suppose that's why I resonate so much to Iran right now. That there is real joy in that, in casting off the tyrants. And you know, when George Washington um, resigned his commission after 8 years of leading the Continental Army, he went to Annapolis, which was then the capital, and resigned his commission. And when King George heard about this, he said, if that's true, he's the most important figure of our day. He's the most important person. Because he was, George Washington was giving up his power. He could have been king, literally king, for our liberty. And for people to smash his statues, and the same with Jefferson. You know, Jefferson wrote the first draft of the Declaration, included a passage in the list of grievances against King George. One of them he wrote was the scourge of slavery that he brought to our shores.
Mhm.
Thomas Jefferson wrote that.
Mhm.
The Continental Congress took it out.
Mhm.
They were afraid if they were going to war with uh, the the world's largest military, most powerful naval component, they needed every colony, every state on
Mhm.
board.
Mhm.
They couldn't risk losing the Southerners. So
Mhm.
I'm very excited about it. It's funny and fun. It teaches history in a new way. And you know, if the left keeps trashing our founders, I mean, it's like they're trying to turn 2026 into a crime scene. What can we find that we can criticize?
Mhm.
But President Trump is planning a massive party celebration. As you know,
Mhm.
he's planning to do sort of an Arch de Triomphe
Mhm.
in Washington, D.C. He's planning, you know, everything, fireworks, the ball drop in the Times Square. It's going to be a massive party. And I think he's doing it just precisely to underscore, no, we're not a socialist country. We're, we're born on these principles. We're born on these values, these Christian values, and these principles of enlightenment. I mean, how revolutionary was this that the Declaration of Independence asked for consent of the governed, that all are created equal,
Mhm.
and that our rights, despite what Senator Kane might say, our rights do not come from man, they come from the
From God.
Creator.
Joanna, let me ask you this one historical thing. You mentioned George Washington and King George. What was George Washington's relationship with King George after Washington became president during that 8 year period?
Well, it was icy. I don't know about Washington, but I know they sent diplomatic envoys, including John Adams, and I think Thomas Jefferson was in the delegation too, to present their credentials to King George. And it is said that he turned his back. So I don't imagine it was good. On the other hand, um, there is a natural affinity. Um, And I think eventually the two countries saw that it was they had the same roots. They had the the cadre of Western
Right.
civilization. They had the same language, and really, if you look back at the protests, the rebellion in the colonies, they didn't want to separate initially. They just wanted the rights of British citizens.
That's right.
If they had given them a seat in Parliament, this might never have happened.
Right. Well, you're absolutely correct. Um, Thank you. Thank you for being with
Thank
us
you.
today. Her new book, Johanna Neuman, Trump's Superpower, it's going to be out on May 12th, 2026. You can pre order it on Amazon or your favorite bookstore, Trump's Superpower by Johanna Neuman. Johanna, thank you, and thank you for being with us today.
John, thank you for having me.
Thank you.